back to our YouTube channel Malayali-On. I am Tanisha, and with me here today is Chinnu and Liz. So we decided to have a general conversation about international students and whether or not 2025 would be their year. Is Canada the right country to immigrate? And discussions around that. So I would like someone to, just pick up on this topic and share their views.
Okay, so basically what we are trying to understand is that, for an international student is coming to Canada in 2025 going to be a good option? What does like life in Canada for an international student look like? So Tanisha, you're currently an international student, soon to, you're going to graduate really soon.
Yes.
So how has your experience been so far? Like, what are the things you like? What are the things you don't like? And
Yeah.
how's it going?
So my experience has been very, I would say, diverse. I came across many people who were very helpful. But my opinion as an international student right now is that anyone who is, taking this decision to come here first needs to equip themselves with a thorough knowledge of this country. And I think so being unplanned with your decisions and, you just cannot be, I would say, dubious at this point. You need to have concrete skill set. Only then, even if you want to get started with the job market, you at least need to have some basic skills. Otherwise, it becomes very hard to navigate. Yeah.
That's for sure. What suggestions do you have for international students who are planning to come? Like what sort of preparation should they be doing?
Well, as Tanisha basically said, it's very apt how she said it. That is the reality of Canada at this point. Like, end goal, most of the people, they're coming to study in Canada not just as a student and go back. They want to gain some work experience, get a PR, permanent resident. So in order for you to even step into the work, you need to have some kind of skill. So say if you're coming after a 12th, student from Canada, student from India or anywhere coming to Canada to study, do your further studies. Well, is it a good option for them to come to Canada? At this point, it looks very tough unless you have really good skills. That's what I'd say. Like, be it whichever course that you're coming to study, and then you're able to attain a job after that, and your employers are very supportive. So as it just boils down to, as if your employer wants to hire you, you need to have that good skill. And or else there is survival jobs are not going to help you for your permanent residence most of the time. So it is a very tough decision. However, it's not like there is no jobs here. There is jobs here, definitely, but jobs that takes you to permanent residence might be difficult. But coming as a student into Canada, say if you have already some kind of bachelor's or master's, some education already completed back home, and you come here after some years of work experience, your chances are much high. That's what I'd say. Yeah.
So you can't afford to move here without a plan at this point whatsoever. And
definitely.
I'd say there are a lot of resources available online as well. And in case PR is say your goal, then they should be looking at it even before they migrate to Canada, right? Like you have the Government of Canada's website, like go through it, what are the requirements and all of that, rather than just coming here and then, once the studies is done, if you try to figure everything out, I think that's just going to stress you out. So
exactly, yeah. And also have a good language score, because language scores are very important. Back in the day, you could come as a student into Canada just with having a overall 6, but however, that's not the case. You need, even after your studies, you need to apply for your work permit. You need your language scores. So the better language scores, it helps you for your PR, work permit. It takes you a long way. Yeah.
How about like, do you think all the international students, right now, are they moving with the right intentions? Like, are they doing the right things here, or like, what do you have to comment on that situation about all that is going on in the country right now?
I believe that earlier it was very, I would say, this country was far more acceptable. But now, with the things going towards a more stricter path, the idea is pretty clear for Canada that it needs right people inside. And I think so the message is very loud and clear with the latest updates that we got. And hopefully, even if people here are not coming here with the right intention, they sooner or later would get the results. They will have to face the scrutiny of the government. But I believe that students who plan to come right after 12th standard is something which is
they
not
really
a great
need to,
idea. You should first, education is something that you should take seriously.
Yes.
Because this country is acceptable to those people, but your skills again plays a very important role. So if you have work experience, that further helps you in your permanent residency as well. So yeah, I hope so. Students who are currently studying take their studies more seriously. Yeah.
And also, while you're studying, yes, it's being portrayed outside before you come in that you'll be able to find job here. While you study, you can work. Well, that's not the case all the time that everybody is able to find a job at this point of time. I'm just talking about Canada right now. Because of the inflation and the lot of people that are already inside country, everybody might not be able to find a job. So if you're coming with the intention that, hey, I'll be able to come into Canada, make my money and
even pay the fees and all of that,
with that money that I'll be working, well, that might not be a good decision at this point in time. It used to be a better decision where people, I'd say maybe 2 to 3 years ago, it was like that, where you could come to Canada and make your fees, basically make up your fees while you're in Canada. So that is also something that you need to be prepared with.
And also to give a bit more context about the education in Canada, right? So like, most of the international students, when they come to Canada, what they're pursuing is either a diploma or like it's something, see, since we are in Ontario, it's like an Ontario graduate certification or Ontario certification as such, right? So like the moment you step out of Canada, like these diplomas or certificates not necessarily carry much value, like compared to if you're pursuing a bachelor's or master's, which is why it's very important for which is why I think all of us were reminding that if after 12th you're coming, then you don't even have that base education to which you could go back to. So then it becomes like an even more riskier step to make the move, and like, say for example, things are not working out for you here, then like even after going back to your home country, you're going to face a lot of challenges.
Most of the students, they do take loans when they come into Canada, and you have that responsibility to pay back that loan. And so say if you come into Canada to study and for whatever reason you're not able to get that permanent residence what you came for, you go back, you have something to fall upon. That's exactly what Chinnu was saying. Like, education should be valued highly. Like, no matter, you just come here, just do your diploma, you need to look for the future value of it as well.
Even the current courses that we are currently holding do not promise us for a guaranteed job.
I think it used to be much better, right? Like in terms of these certifications also, they used to hold much more value, say like 5 years ago or a few years ago, I would say, but not at the moment, especially given the volume of international students that has moved into country. It has also created a lot of chaos, like like there is a reason why, say, Canadians and like people here are turning against immigration at the moment, because they are facing a lot of issues. And I feel like whenever you're moving to a new country, you should move with the right intention, right? Your intention should be to integrate with the country and not necessarily to like, bring your home country, or just, you cannot force your values or cultures or anything on like a place. That place has its own culture, its own beauty, and all of that. There's a lot of good things that you can learn from Canada and, like, try and integrate into the society. Of course, there's a place and time where you can celebrate your occasions and all of that, but like while respecting everybody else who's around you, right? That's you
Yeah.
believe that's
Very
creating
true.
a lot of
I
hatred.
believe that Canada has always been very acceptable to
Yeah.
immigrants and their cultures, but it is upon the immigrants as well to, respect the country's overall fabric
Yeah.
rather than, disintegrate it or, um, turning it onto themselves. But I believe that slowly and steadily, as with the rules and everything coming into place, hopefully we'll see the change which the government is planning
Yeah.
to. But the immigrant population at the time is pretty huge, and that's upon the government to decide who stays or who goes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Canada is always
Yeah.
known for its diversity.
Yeah, yeah.
Different cultures. It's never like said, okay, only a certain culture or the way it is. Diversity is always encouraged. However, the main thing is respect each other.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes.
Definitely.
Like, Canadians were known to be, like, one of the nicest people in the world. Like, if they are turning against you, then, like, a lot of people should be reflecting, and then, they need to figure out where things are going wrong and all of that. And definitely we can't blame them, because there's a lot of things which are happening.
Yeah.
They are right on their side to express their
I believe since there is a lot of population, very less number of jobs, so people have far more,
Yeah.
I would say, leisure time to
Yeah.
pursue these, I would say,
hate comments and all of that.
which I believe that international students, since they are, they do not have any job experience, so they come here and they get this exposure, and that kind of excites them to pursue hobbies which are not really good. So I believe that's what we, have in common, like we are discussing, that students before coming here should at least have some basic work
Yeah.
experience, so that they know the culture and the work culture and
Yeah.
stuff. They come here and they have that childish, I would say.
So when they get that freedom, they're like,
Yeah,
they're
they're
not
all over the
utilizing
place.
it for the right things.
Yeah, I believe so.
It's actually kind of a little bit hurtful to see that, there are a lot of immigrants who have put in a lot of hard work and, is moving to Canada with the right intentions to work hard and contribute to the economy and integrate into the society. So it's like very, very sad to see that we are all put in a bracket, and then,
Exactly. They're just
like,
being left out.
yeah.
Everybody, all immigrants are put stereotyped in a certain way.
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
And the students who are genuinely here with the right intention, they get camouflaged by students who
Oh my
are
gosh.
not here with the
Yeah.
right intention. And our professors are also loud and clear about this fact that whatever you're doing right now, whatever education you're pursuing right now, might not be helpful for you. Like down the years, you need to possess the right
Skills.
skill set,
Yeah.
and that will only come if you do the extra work.
Yeah.
Apart from education, you need to set aside some time to inculcate those skills which will help you in the future.
At least, like, come here with an open mind, and then, nobody's telling that you should know everything, but just, like, have that intention to learn those skills, and then, contribute positively rather than just, like, creating chaos and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like there needs to be a work and student study and work
Yeah.
balance needs to be
Definitely.
there, because that's where when you're here as a student, your main goal should be to study and to pursue that certificate or that diploma that you came for. And there has been a lot of cases where there has been protest happening that they are not marked properly, or
Yeah.
there has been like they're not graded properly, there has been partiality or whatever
Yeah,
it is.
there is.
But that most of the time what I have found out is that there are a lot of students out there who are working a lot rather than
Studying.
putting their focus on the studies that they came for.
Yeah.
So it's very important to have that balance, and in the end of the day, you need to come here, what you came to Canada for, complete it properly, because that only will lead you to the next step.
Yeah.
Say like your work permit or your permanent residence. So when you initially decided to come into Canada, you might have come into Canada either through your own will, or you were forced by somebody to come into Canada, or whatever be it, have that right reason and have that focus, and do not lose that focus. Plus, another thing to be pointed out, plan yourself. Like, if you are in whichever province you are going to, say Ontario, British Columbia, what is your how can you get permanent residence? At least have a vague idea of things. Not to have, like, you might not be able to have like a solid idea of how to get your permanent residence. At least have some idea before you come in, and research your area that you are going to study. That's all. It's a lot for a student, but it's some effort that you need to put in there.
Like you're spending like 10,000, 20,000 of dollars. Maybe like, spend a little bit extra to get a consultation, or like figure out those pathways. Invest that money is gonna maybe save you thousands of that dollars, right? Like, or help you make the right decision. So all of that. And another thing is that there's a Canadian dream, or like a dream that is sold to a lot of international students, that like Canada is some sort of a wonderland, and the moment you reach here, everything is just like going to fall into place, and everything is good about this country. And
I believe that is upon the young generation. I believe that is what is told, and that is also which compels them to come out in countries like this. And when they do come, they realize that all this fantasy that they had been promised about was not actually true. You need to work really, really hard. You have to study really hard. You have to work really hard to find a good job, and then obviously you'll get your permanent residency.
Plus it's like, of course you earn well, but it's an expensive country, so you
Definitely
also have to spend a lot, like compared to what you would spend in your home country. Say your rent is expensive, your groceries are expensive. So even though like, so when I know a lot of people who, when they're back home, right, they calculate like, oh, I'm gonna earn say $17-18 an hour, and then that translates into so much. And like what they fail to do is that they fail to account for the expenses, right? So then all of that mismatch is going to bring in a lot of disappointment.
Try not to convert Canadian dollars to INR or
any
whichever
currency,
your local currency is, because it is very different. Like in Canada, it's your Canadian currency, your expense, your rent, grocery. There's X amount of expenses are there. So compared to what you actually spend back home, is totally different. So that's something keep in mind.
Also, I feel like social media, now that social media has also come into picture, everybody tends to share their good sides on social media, right? Like say you and I are having like a tough week, but like on a Saturday we decide to step out, and then here anywhere you go, the nature is beautiful and all of that. We click a picture, and that forces people to think that like they are having the time of their life there, and all of it. Nobody is seeing or nobody is speaking about the struggle which goes behind that just one picture, right? So
it's
all
like
of
basically research. If you do see people owning their own houses, having their dream cars, going to their favorite destination spots, it all comes only through money. And if you ask them and go and ask them what's the mortgage that you have to have to pay for so many years, and they would realize that this fantasy is all of a very vague
there's
concept.
A struggle. There's a lot of struggle for everything in Canada, but there is it gets paid off in the end.
Basically nothing comes free in life, right? For everything there's a cost, and like there's a lot of hard work that goes behind it. Anything else related to international students that you think we should be discussing, or which could be helpful for them?
Well, you guys have something to ask us, or anything that you want us to do in our next podcast, always we are welcome with ideas, with your ideas to please pitch in. And basically we're not trying to be all negative about international students, or saying that no, Canada is not a country for you right now. Well, it's always been like there's been always ups and downs for international students coming into Canada, and some of it is being portrayed out in the media, social media, but not everything. So if you are a student coming to Canada, either a good approach would be get some kind of an education in your back home after your 12th, say your bachelor's, master's, get some kind of work experience, say 2 years of work experience, and then you come here, study in Canada, and also after studies get a work permit. So even when you come to study in Canada, not all courses will give you that work permit option as well.
Yeah.
So as we just discussed, research about your course.
Yes.
Your educational consultancies, they might be selling you something, and make sure you do your own research on
Yeah.
at your own end, and basically make sure that that particular province or that particular the area that you are in, that is suitable for you. You will be able to adapt to that. If you have friends, your friends might be telling you, okay, hey, I'm finding it difficult to find a job. Don't think of it in a negative way.
Yeah.
Try to think of it like positively. Like they might be trying to help you, because Canada is not the same Canada as before. So this podcast was basically to help somebody to make that right decisions, and hopefully we were helpful. And hope to see you all in the next video.